Good morning, everybody. When I received Dr. Kota, who was my professor at IISc and gave us 10 set of wonderful lectures in aircraft design, we were always looking for his lecture, and he was instrumental in motivating me as well as many of my friends to give up our jobs in private sector and come back and work in National Aerospace Laboratory. Thank you so much, sir. We really enjoyed those 10 years. Thanks to you. When I met him at Nanotel today, he said Goa he was under the impression that Goa is a frolic, people just meant for fun. And in fact, I told him, no, it's not like that. You will see the auditorium full at 8 o'clock. People will come. But I think many of them proved me wrong. I hope in another 1 hour's time, auditorium will be full at least. Now, we have very limited time. In 40 minutes, let's try to extract as much as possible from this wonderful personality. We are indeed privileged to have it. Dr. Ketan has gone through his biodata. You have seen how wonderful it is. I don't think anywhere in the country will have such a biodata related to technical field. And remember, he is the recipient of 3 main awards, that is, he is distinguished alumnus of 2 IITs and IISc. This is something incredible and unprecedented. I don't think anyone has that. When I start my first lecture at Aryan's, I tell students that aircraft design is not a joke, and IIT JEE Advanced is like aircraft design. See, in aircraft design, you can't be 99.99% right. Dr. Kota will convince you, you have to be 100% right. Just as in advanced, you may be 99.99% right, and if you don't do that last 0.1% right, you're going to be penalized by given negative marks. So aircraft design is just similar. You may go for any high-tech bus design, you may make some mistake. You can say, we will, as if something goes wrong, we will stop, repair and go ahead. But you can't do that in flight. That's why aircraft design is so complicated. And my first question to Dr. Kota is, you involved in the fighter aircraft design. That's probably the most difficult design in the world. So your experience as you went through the design as a chief designer, you had to learn everything. So aircraft design involves so many things. So can you throw some light for our young aspirants of why aircraft design is so complicated?
So happy to be here. And Venkatesh has a way of pushing you until you agree to what he says. Finally, I had to come here. He did leave me. And I have a friend of mine, Professor Aryan. So they also, I think Venkatesh worked with him. So I'm happy to be here. Joined HAL initially because I wanted to understand aircraft in totality. And I joined flight test group because you test the whole aircraft, you don't test aerodynamics, you don't start it and all. And I feel I spent about 10 years at Nasik division of HAL. In those days they were manufacturing MiG-21 aircraft. In those days perhaps it's one of the finest aircraft ever designed anywhere in the world. Okay? And understanding that aircraft was a very, very important life lesson for all of us. Because those days, hardly any electronics. But it was a supersonic aircraft flying at Mach 2 and possibly the smallest of the fighters of that war at that time. So always I felt after the 1965 war, first time India deployed aircraft, air battle was there. And it is well known today, and in those days, even in 1930, 40, a country which has air superiority can win the world. In fact, there is not a single country in the whole world which doesn't have air superiority, which has ever won a war. So, after First World War, Second World War, subsequently, every time, if USA has achieved the supremacy, it is only because of air power. Okay, so air power is so important for us. So we should think that if India has to come to a level where it is considered as a world power, we have to achieve the ability to design, develop a front ranking fighter have an air force which will really dominate the skies. It is an absolute necessity. Also, once you have the ability to design, develop an aircraft, so what happened? It's an array of technologies you will develop. In fact, in designing a light combat aircraft, what we did, we used 40 disciplines. 40 disciplines, and all those disciplines must work together. You can't say I will have the most efficient aerodynamics, but structure is useless. It's of no use. And you may have aerodynamic structure, but propulsion is not up to the mark. You can't do that. So the key is you want to have the lightest aircraft consistent with what you call the other disciplines are constraints are taken into account, and that will need the zenith of technology, zeniths of aerodynamic structures, propulsion, controls, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, all of them. And something like 40 disciplines, people working together, not few, thousands of people have to work together to develop a fighter. So once you have that ability and you come out with an aircraft, and today light combat aircraft is judged as the smallest, lightest fighter in the whole world. This is something unique. I want to add 2-3 more points so that you will appreciate. When we started, we wanted to make the lightest fighter. Advanced composites, what you call carbon composites, are the materials which are very strong, very stiff, very light. Okay, we didn't have that kind of a knowledge base, but we learned. We did one thing very important in this project. We brought in the academic institution, the R&D laboratories, and industry together. In fact, IIT Bombay had done more than 150 projects for development of the light combat aircraft. Similarly, so many others. IISc must have done something like 200 projects. So, first time in a project in India, so many academic institutions, laboratories have worked very closely with small, medium, and large industries. When these people work together and work to achieve the highest level of reliability and safety. This is the only aircraft program in the whole world today. Last 20 years, the aircraft is flying, not a single accident or incident. The aircraft were developed in USA, aircraft were developed in Europe and all. They had a serious accident. They lost their. In fact, there is an aircraft called Griffin, developed by Sweden. 4th flight they crashed. First production aircraft it crashed. Okay, but this aircraft had the distinction being the safest aircraft in the world. I thought it is possible to do that thing, but most important thing is you have to learn that all disciplines must work together. And work together to achieve safety, reliability, maintainability, and good performance. I think that's what has been done. Okay?
How could you put all these people together? So I know how people work. Most of them are government institutions, government labs. You could bring all of them together in very short period.
Yeah.
So how did you achieve that, sir? How did you get this support from them?
There is, younger teams, they always want to do something for the country. See, it is inherent, it is behind, And but there was no project. In 1961, we first flew an aircraft called HF-24, which was a first generation fighter designed under the leadership of Kurt Tank, who was a German designer. In fact, the whole job was done under a German design team. Indians have done a lot of support and all. But after that, the LCA flew in 2001. So 40 years, okay, there was nothing. So after about 25 years, the government felt there is a need for us to do that. Because if you don't have this kind of capability, India can never be what you call a country worth the name. Okay, so that has happened. Now there was a lot of desire to do, but no opportunity to do. When this mission came, see, when there is a major mission, you will be surprised to know that people would be ready to come and work at a fraction of it. Because in government, we pay 1/3 of the salary. It's not much.
It's another problem. So
Yeah, 1/3 of the salary. And people who are working as professor in academic institution, they came and joined. Professor Sunana came and joined us. Professor Bandharji came and joined. A lot of people came only because they felt there is an extraordinary opportunity for working together and achieving a world-class vertical system. When there is a mission, I always felt, and there is a team which is totally dedicated to the mission. You need to have a team which really thinks, dreams, works and all that day and night to do that. When such a thing is achieved, brought in, I think it attracts like
no, sir, I don't agree, quite agree. It depends on the person at the helm of affairs. And I know how Dr. Kotaria motivates people, and he's motivated a lot of people, including professors from IIT.
No, I'm happy to say some of my colleagues, my young colleagues and all, they all left their jobs. They came, they joined, Professor T.J. Pai and all. They joined us, Professor Patel, all of them came and joined us. They continue to work. Okay? And I think it is because of that kind of a different people coming together and working, we could achieve an aircraft today which is considered to be a world-class fighter. From first generation, we came to fourth plus generation in one program. Okay? What I want to mention to you, all of you are young. There is a mission and you are dedicated to that, you will achieve success. I have zero doubt in that mind. Okay? You will do that.
So you may design the aircraft, may develop it, you may build it, but you know we have to go for certification if you are going for the mass production of the aircraft, right? And my experience with Hansa and Saras and interaction with DGCA for the civil aircraft was very bad. You know, they're very slow, they're dodging in nature, they are technically very weak, and that's why aircraft project probably take long time. So you have to share your frank experience with us with CRE during certification of the LCA project.
I think you have raised a very, very critical point, because it's not just good enough you design an aircraft, building a prototype is a challenge, but the bigger challenge is, as he rightly said, Venkatesh, that how to certify it so that they allow you to fly the aircraft. Okay. Now, when the program started, the airworthiness group doesn't know, because nobody in India ever designed an aircraft of that class and ever certified it, ever manufactured it, everything is new. So, you not only have to design and develop, you also have to take your certification people as part of the team. You have to educate them, you have to work with them, and you have to be 100% transparent to them. I have seen one thing, if the team is transparent and tell them, look, this is the scenario, and the other side is committed. It's important they should be committed. If they are not committed, it becomes an issue. Fortunately for us, the CRE team was highly committed. It's very, very good. I myself was a CRE for 7.5 years.
Were they technical people? Usually the DGCA people not very strong aerospace background.
Yes, unfortunately,
And sir, they don't want to take a chance. Because,
I know you are
sometimes they flies and the plane crashes, they are also responsible equally.
No, unfortunately what happened, the technical competence that is required, it doesn't come overnight. It is built over a time. And as your competence is built, your confidence also is built. That I thought, the military airworthiness, the CRE teams and all, they lived with the project, worked with the project, gained the experience, and gained the ability to give the clearances to do that. And it was done over a period of years. It's not that overnight it is done. But certainly military airworthiness teams today has a lot more knowledge, a lot more experience, a lot more ability to sit with you, work with you, and give you the clearance.
I think that was really goes to you. You made them do it. You had to bulldoze them.
But I had a poor reputation. My colleague who used to tell me, I'm worse than the CRE airworthiness people.
So you can imagine.
So they used to say, if you agree, we have no problem, they will agree.
What a big compliment.
Yeah.
Compliment. Now, money was a big issue. You know, to build an aircraft of this category, starting from scratch until certification level, we needed a lot of money, and government was always there. So a lot of paperwork. So how did you actually manage that?
Actually,
was government really cooperative?
Yeah. Money was really a problem.
Sanctions also. Just one. Sanctions also.
Sanctions. So we had a lot of issues. I think you can write actually my boss, my Oh, Dr. Kalam used to tell me, Kota, you must write a book. Okay, you know more. But what it means is, in 83, they took a decision that we should go ahead and develop an aircraft. They gave about 500 crores and no, you can't develop an aircraft with 500 crores. Okay, then we formed a new organization called Aeronautical Development because they thought neither HAL, nor DRDO, nor ANIL, or any one of the organizations in the country is capable of doing it by themselves. So they thought there is a need for a new organization. You can bring people together. Okay, that was a very major decision. The Minister of Defense, this was the first time such an organization was created, and they chose a person who was comparatively young. I became the program director at the age of 43. So you have to give credit to the people who told you, because they said that this program will take 15 years. You need a fellow who doesn't retire before that. So that itself shows the foresight of the people who have done that. Okay, but we did our definition study, which is an important thing. As you go by, you learn. You have to define project means you have to read the configuration of the system. Are the aircraft system specifications? What are the resources required? Not merely to design and manufacture, but also to test and validate. Okay, and in India we have none of the facilities, zero. We have nothing. Not even a lathe was added after HF-24 was made. Not even a lathe. Even a rusted lathe was not there. So everything has to be.
Can you just throw some light here? Everything has to be approved and certified. All the facilities also have to be certified.
It was an extraordinarily major thing. Meanwhile, what happened? And the Air Force has to have confidence to do, because the Air Force asked us to do an aircraft which is a 4th generation fighter, and base was a 1st generation, and for next 25 years nothing was done. Even the 1st gen fighter knowledge had disappeared. That was the scenario. And in 19, it took quite some time for us to convince the government, convince the Air Force. They took 1.5 years to say yes. And also then they didn't agree for a full aircraft up to operational clearance money to be given. They said, you make 2 technology, demonstrate the aircraft, fly the aircraft, prove your technology, only then we will allow you to do that. And for that, they agreed. We initially asked about 3,000 plus crores, but they said about 2,000 we will give. But India didn't have the money. 1990, there was not a pilot. In fact, we didn't have money even to buy things, and our foreign exchange reserve was only for 4 weeks. Up to 1993, we didn't get any money other than the initial money of 500 crores. So for 10 years, there was no money. Keeping the team together, continuing to work, it was an extraordinary challenge. But whatever little money we had, with that money, we decided to develop indigenous systems, components, and technologies, and establish facilities. Whatever little money was there. And we were able to do some of the world-class test facilities. Today, I want to give you one interesting story, which is important for your thing. You may think an aircraft has to go through lightning, and a composite aircraft is very weak in lightning, okay, because it's a non-conductor, it's not a good conductor. So your whole aircraft, fully equipped, fully functioning, has to be tested for that, for which you need a huge hangar, test facility and all. That itself is a costly thing, and that needs to be built, designed, built, tested, and approved before you can use it, okay. But that was done just by 1 or 2 faculty from IISc, from Narbhushna, and that became the best facility in the whole world. That became the best facility. And we started with zero knowledge about composites. By the time I'd say, then we had the highest percent of composites in any fighter anywhere in the world. And we developed a software which was just the best software in the whole world. It was a world competition. And Airbus, Boeing, everybody bought that composite software from us. In fact, if you fly a A350, A380, or any one of these Airbus aircraft, okay, the design software that was used for designing that one is the software which is developed for light 500 aircraft, which they bought from us. Okay, so I visibly feel when a good team comes together, they are motivated, world-class things will happen, and that happened simply from India.
Now, do you really have facilities to mass produce LCA type of aircraft, and what have you done about it?
Actually, that was a challenge, because what happened in India for the decades, we were manufacturing aircraft under license. What does it mean? Somebody else designed the aircraft, somebody else made the tooling, somebody else fixed how the aircraft has to be produced. The whole knowledge was transferred to India, and we were only following them to do. Whereas LCA is a new aircraft, newly designed, new technologies, new materials, new processes. In fact, the production team never understood that they have to convert a prototype to production aircraft. They never understood. For a long time they didn't understand. It is only last few years they understood. Second thing, they thought they can do everything themselves. It's not possible. Today what we call an ecosystem is required. You have an aircraft originally manufactured, then we have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 and all. It took enormous time to convince them that you have to create such an infrastructure. Today, after so many years, today HL has given the work of assembling the wing to L&T. They have given there is one dynamic company which does the front fuselage. There is another company called WEM Technologies.
It's all in India, right?
It's all in India. Everything is in India. There is the real fuselage, another company called Alpha Technologies. There is the landing gear done at HL Nasik. What I am telling is, today, from not understanding what it means, producing numbers, to slowly we have come to a stage, it took a long time, but where we have now created an ecosystem, and the OEM, what you call original, the top fellow, he has now realized the importance of that, and 70% of that aircraft is now made outside HAL in private sector, 70%. So I do think slowly we have, thanks to LCA project, the ecosystem for aviation in India has come.
So, but what is surprising is how come private sector has come forward to put money where are they going to get their money back from? So are we going to sell aircrafts outside also? Is the demand?
What happens today from some 20 aircraft, Indian Air Force ordered for 120 aircraft. Okay, 120 fighters is a big order. In fact, recently HL got signed an agreement with the government where single order 50,000 crores. Never in the history of HL such a big order has come. Okay, for 50,000 crores on single order for 80 aircraft. That is what has come. And HL has agreed now they will feed work to all these work centers. Okay, because each one has to develop the capabilities, keep them in a country. And second, there is an LCA Mark II. Indian Air Force has committed for another 200 fighters. Okay, there is now the new Chief of Air Staff has also made a statement. He doesn't want a fifth generation fighter, which is a stealth fighter, to come from Russia or anywhere. He wants it to be developed in India. He signed an agreement with the DRDO and ADA that the first 2 squadrons will be from here, and subsequently another 4 squadrons from here. In fact, he says by 2035, all fighters in India will be indigenous. Okay, thanks to the light combat aircraft today, we have the technology, and biggest challenge is making the customer feel that you can do that. Okay, I'm looking forward to, I may not be alive, but most of you will be alive. You will be able to see Indian Air Force operating from being a buyer, what you call Air Force, it becomes a make Air Force. That will be an important day in the history of this country.
No more Rafale aircraft, you don't buy anything from outside. How does it compare with Rafale?
Rafale is a twin engine aircraft. Technology wise, let us do that now that all that Halagulla is over. LCA has better technology. Okay. Rafale has only 30% composites by weight. LCA has 45% composites by weight. Second, Rafale has a hybrid flight control system. It is analog and digital. LCA is a 100% digital fly-by-wire system. And LCA is a small aircraft designed in such a way, inherent stealth properties are there. Okay, if you look at the design and all that, it's a delta wing aircraft without tail, without those things, which makes it less stealth. And over a period of time, we also developed enough technology whereby we can improve the stealth characteristics of LCA and we go by. Okay, but LCA is a single engine fighter, whereas Rafale is a twin engine fighter. Its range is more, it can go deep into the enemy territory, whereas LCA cannot go into deep territory because it is a smaller aircraft. Okay, the limitation of small aircraft is it can do air superiority and air defense, but it can't do deep penetration. That Rafale can do that.
Okay, can
So
we
there
go
is
for
a-
the twin engine later once this problem
Yeah,
is
in fact,
successful?
the AMCA, Advanced Medium Range Combat Aircraft, the fifth generation fighter, what we are working on, it is a twin engine fighter. It will be able to not only go into deep strike, but it also will be able to with the high stealth. Okay, I thought that. And that stealth today, I do think we have the capability to build a stealth fighter. There is no worry. I also want to tell you because Goa is deeply involved in this. We also built what you call a naval fighter. It takes off and lands from a carrier. But before it goes onto an actual carrier, you need a facility on the ground where it simulates the carrier. The best facility for simulating the takeoff and landing of an aircraft, of a naval fighter is in Goa. Okay? So every 2 months, 3 months, you will see big contingent of the people come to Goa and they use this facility. And they acknowledge that perhaps it's among the best facilities in the whole world. Okay? So Goa is now what is called the place where all naval aircraft are tested, validated, cleared before it goes further. Okay.
So there are a lot of technical questions left, but I just want to come to less which some of the students will be interested. See, I was very fortunate to have lectured by Professor Satish Dhawan, Professor Narasimha, Professor Abdul Kalam, and you work very closely with them. So you have to tell us one or two stories with your close interaction with Dr. Kalam in particular. I heard your meetings in Delhi when he became a president. You were still involved in the project. Used to be at 2 o'clock in the morning and used to have a meeting from 2 to 4 o'clock and come to Canada by taking a flight at 7 o'clock and continue work all day. So tell us some stories with that.
So Dr. Kalam is a 24/7 man. Okay. So sometimes his meeting will be at night, 11 o'clock. So we used to take a flight in the evening. After the day's work is over, we take a flight at 6:30, 7 o'clock from Bangalore, reach there by about 10 o'clock, go to the guest house which is about 10:30, meetings will go on up to 2:30, okay. And the old man had enough strength, enough commitment, enough things whereby then you get up at 4 o'clock, 4:30, come to the airport and you reach there, Bangalore, about 8:30, 8:45. Go direct to the office because there is, in these 4 hours of meeting, there will be 1,000 action points.
I hope our faculty and our students are hearing this.
And you work round the clock, action that we only reach home somewhere at night, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. It used to be our regular thing. But you know, you are much younger, but your Dr. Kalam is much older. But he was so committed. Committed to the project, committed to. And at a time when, you know, and as a president of the country, he was so deeply committed to education, committed to the projects. Okay? Whenever I went to Delhi, even after he was the president, he will say, come and have dinner with us. Okay, the old man will have dinner at about 10, 11 o'clock or so. You finish the dinner, then you have detailed discussion with him. It will go on up to night, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. He was the president of the country, but he had the time for listening to you, talk to you, advise you, to see how to go about it. Okay? So that was the kind of person he was. Professor Narasimha, an extraordinarily brilliant aeronautical engineer, is still active. Okay? He's around 87.
Maybe next time we will come with the chief guest. I talk to him.
Deeply involved. We are working on a project called a 100-seater regional transport aircraft, a turboprop. Really, perhaps the best in the world. That's what we are trying to do. That deeply involved in that kind of project with a new wing development, new things, and all that is working about that. When we joined the Institute of Science, Professor Dhawan was already a director of the Institute of Science, but he used to come to teach us once in a while, and he was an extraordinarily wonderful teacher.
He taught me at the age of 83. He was still energetic.
Energetic, extraordinarily good teacher. For every 1 hour of what you call course, he will do 8 hours of preparation. And when we were sitting in the library, one of the finest libraries I have seen in the Indian Institute of Library, he was also sitting there. Okay, that shows, you know, and up to edge of the research, what was available, he was able to bring it. I think that is what the culture of doing research right up to the limits and developing the best of the capabilities and best of organizing skills is what Dhawan has done.
What ISC is today, I think the major credit should go to him because 19 years he was the director of ISC.
He did an extraordinarily forward-looking, finest institution. Even today, perhaps the finest institution in the country with a culture of.
Just one related question. I know all of them, they know what IIT is, but IISc is not so much, they are not so much aware. Do you think IISc is actually much ahead of IIT, but they probably don't bother about the brand? What is that?
No, much ahead. Well, I have spent in IIT Bhubaneswar, BHU, IIT Bombay, Indian stuff. So I have gone through all the things. Okay, but I don't think you can compare IISc with IIT.
Yes.
If tomorrow you have a choice of doing either at IISc and IIT, I have zero doubt in my mind you have to go to IISc. Only problem with IISc is if you are a gate score, if you don't have more than 99.5 or 6,
To be top 1% in the country.
You don't get a chance.
Yeah. So another very related question. Many of my students, after hearing about the stories about aircraft, they get excited. They say they want to only do aerospace engineering. But what, according to you, is the right path, right way? Should you not do your mechanical engineering or any basic degree in engineering and then specialize in aerospace simply because the job opportunities in India are limited?
No, not because of that. I also feel a foundation in engineering is very essential. See, if you don't have a strong foundation in basic engineering, mechanical, electrical, electronics and all that, then go for a specialty. Aerospace is a multidisciplinary thing by the definition. So once you have a basic foundation, then go for a post-graduation. I feel that is a better way to do. I'm not telling you if you get an extraordinary opportunity, you are not do, but doing a basic degree and then getting aviation, it will be a better way. There is a choice, I think that way you will do, and also you will be an excellent engineer, an excellent designer, and a good entrepreneur, because you learn to work with others. Okay, if you have to work with another four, there is hardly a product where you don't need more than one discipline. Aviation teaches you how to do that. Okay, that is the post graduation. It's a good way.
Yeah. So somebody who is very keen on, of course, as you said, do the basic degree and go for aerospace engineering, become an aerospace engineer. What kind of opportunities are available in private sector? And most of the opportunities are in the government sector, where the salary is an issue.
No, but now what happened? More and more startups have come. More and more medium levels of engineering come. And also some of the bigger IT-enabled services companies are also now doing fair amount of work. For example, Infosys, a lot of my colleagues are working. They do a complete design of a fin, rudder, this kind of thing. Opportunities are very much there. And also, aviation teaches you how to solve problems, a complex very. See, what today people are looking at is, are you capable of solving a complex problem? After you finish your degree, nobody will ask you how good you are in aerodynamics, how good you are in structures or propulsion, how good you are in designing or manufacturing or building. That skill is what aviation teaches you. And with that skill, you have the ability to solve complex problems. And that is what is required in future.
In fact, I asked Dr. Kota, I'll be driving in the car today morning, what is that which is not involved in aircraft design? Which branch of engineering is not involved in aircraft design? We can think of.
There can be variations in the discipline what I have played. For example, if you make autonomous air vehicle, control becomes an important. But it has to have a structure, aerodynamics and all. There is another important thing I want you to learn. 3 things you have to do. One is called systems engineering. How to engineer a complex system, which is important. This is very important. Secondly, today most of the aircraft, most of even cars, everything, what they call as cyber physical system, hardware with a huge amount of software. Aviation teaches you how to do design, develop such as cybergraphies and make it safe. Okay, how to build safe. Third is it teaches you how to make a reliable and maintainable system. Okay, that all. So these what you call skill sets are important for other disciplines. In fact, any country which was good in aviation is also good in other areas. So it's a foundational capability, and I do believe this skill is what is important. Okay, and you will do well wherever you go.
I can go on and on, but I had to end with this last question, which is very important. I think you mentioned that after the 1961 HF-24 Marut aircraft design, till about 1983, Indian activity in aerospace was almost zero. Right? So do you think the 20 years time which we lost, if that was not lost, we would have probably been the best in the world in the aircraft design by now?
I do believe for any what you call area, you have to continue to develop technology, continue to build, continue to have projects. If you don't do, the skill sets will disappear, technology will disappear, people will disappear, and that's what happened in India. I don't think a country like India, with its population, with its size, can ill afford not to have a series of projects and series of programs, series of there whereby they are at the edge, at the topic. I think it was an extraordinarily bad period. I do look forward to a situation where such things don't happen in future for India and for India.
Okay. Wonderful, sir. It was great listening to you. I'm sure that any aspirants who are going to be engineers from Aryans, they have really been motivated, and many of them will take up aerospace engineering and mechanical engineering. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to all of you doing extremely well and do well. Have confidence. Never get worried about failures, because if you want to have success, couple of failures is part of your life. So move forward and wish you all well. Thank you very much, and happy New Year 2022 is a good year for all of you. Thank you.